Today is August 7th. Welcome on into Daily Cards Live here on ClaibsOnline.com, presented by Munganess St. Louis Acura and Royal Banks of Missouri. And for the second time today, I don't have the right graphic up when I start a show. So there we go. Now it all looks a lot better. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Bob Ramsey. Rammer, Cardinals dropped 2 out of 3 to the Rockies this past weekend, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Let's talk about the stuff that does matter, and that's the bright spots in the starting pitching from Saturday and Sunday. If we have to find some sort of silver lining, Zach Thompson and Steven Matz gave it to us.
Yeah, Matz and Thompson were both good. Matz was brilliant, and considering Thompson hadn't been able to stretch out, he gave them an inning more than they kind of were counting on, and was pretty darn good. And I agree with you; those two guys have been minor bright spots in a dismal season.
The Steven Matz turnaround, the way that he has pitched here as of, I don't know, the last month, I guess, or so. What is second lowest ERA in baseball? Second to Shohei Ohtani when it comes to what he's been doing here as of late. I don't know. I mean, I didn't catch much of the broadcast on Saturday. I don't know if you did, but I'm wondering if anybody has really picked up what kind of changes have come with him.
The narrative, and it might not be wrong, but it can't be the totality of the point. But the narrative is he regained confidence in his fastball. Okay, I'll buy that. But what made him lose confidence? And why did it take so long? I think there's a lot of questions there, but I'll accept that as at least a starting point.
Mo has been pretty honest, pretty adamant about the fact that they're going to have openings and they're going to have to look elsewhere outside of the organization to fill the rotation for the 2024 season. I mean, we're going to see Matthew Liberatore pitch this week again down in Tampa, which, you know, it should be, and I would think for him and maybe for the organization, kind of a big game to kind of show, hey, Matthew Liberatore, Randy Arozarena, they're going to face each other. We'll kind of look at it that way. There are going to be people that look at it that way.
What people? What people?
Fans.
Well, who cares? They're not coming to games. They're not going to Cardinal games anyway.
So you have him.
I don't mean that the fans don't matter.
Right.
It came off as kind of rude, but that's who I am. I just mean that doesn't go into the thought process. Now, the Cardinal brass and uniform personnel may be embarrassed when Randy hits a bunch of home runs. He's cooled off the last month a lot. He needs to get it going. He's probably looking at the Cardinals coming into place to jumpstart. But we'll look at it. But the two things, once the deal's done, it's not really relevant anymore.
So, but he is going to be showcased the rest of this season. Dakota Hudson should also be getting showcased the rest of this season. Is Steven Matz being showcased the rest of the season? I mean, are we seeing if this? I mean, he's obviously under contract for 2 more years after this year. How do you look at that going into 24? How do we assess this, the final 2 months of the season with Steven Matz?
Matz has a spot in the rotation next year until he loses it.
Okay.
And the other guys have to try and earn a spot. You're probably looking at the 5th spot in the rotation, or knowing the Cardinals, the 4th and 5th spots.
Yeah.
I really believe the Cardinals will get one starter by trade or free agency over the winter. And then Michaels will be 2 and Matt's 3, and then fill out 4 and 5. That's what I think will happen.
And that's where, I mean, that Zach Thompson start yesterday, you're kind of looking at it, and it was kind of a forced start because of the Michaelis suspension. You had to fill that somehow with a bullpen game. And Zach Thompson answered the call to where I think you look at that and you go, all right, hey, you know what? 5 days from now, you're getting the ball again. The Cardinals schedule doesn't really fit for that many starters right now with how weird it is, especially this week. But you got to find Zach Thompson a chance to start again and see what he has.
Yeah, I think they'll basically, and it's not going to be like they're going to play this out every single sixth day all the way through. But I think basically you're looking at a 6-man rotation the rest of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they absolutely should. And if you're continuing to get the starts out of Adam Wainwright that you have been, I mean,
Well,
I know, yeah.
I have a theory on that, by the way, especially at this point in the season.
Uh-huh.
And if you go to a 6-man, which we think they will, I think getting him his 200th win, he'd be better off in middle relief and try and get some vulture wins.
Yep. I thought the same thing. I thought
in the fifth or sixth inning. Hey, we're up by a couple of runs. Let's get Thompson out. Waino, we got a lead. Pitch an inning, maybe 2 if you can. If you can, keep a close eye on it, get him out of there, be the pitcher of record. I think they'll have far more opportunities to get those 2 wins than just going in the rotation.
And when we're doing this show, Rammer, in 2038, and we're talking about Zach Thompson needing to, a few wins to get his 200th win of his career, we're going to look back and we're going to have to dig into the archives and find, episodes like this where it's like, man, he probably would have gotten to 200 if it wasn't for those Wainwright vulture wins.
I think in 2038, you and your partner will be looking back and who was that other guy? Who was the other guy? Then you'll have to take time to explain it.
I'm gonna guess you'll have a better mindset of things in 2038 than probably I will.
Yeah, we'll
by
see.
then you'll be a lot sharper in that year than me.
It'd be scary for all of us. Here's the other thing. You're looking at the rotation, which I think is legitimate, which has to be addressed. And I think position players, look, I'm looking around the ballpark and there are so many empty seats. There's not much to watch. I really think, and I know we've talked about the timing and contracts and all those kinds of things, but I think Herrera, Baker, and Wynn need to be up and playing. You need to give, if you still care about selling hot dogs and beer, and you should, and you still care about giving potential season ticket holders hope to renew their season tickets, you need to play these young guys coming up. And if a veteran has to sit, so what?
I know we didn't get a chance to go to the game together on Friday, Rammer, but as I look at the schedule and I look ahead, Saturday is August 19th is a Saturday, August 20th is a Sunday, and they're home against the Mets. If one of those 2 days is Mason Wynn Day, I think we're going down to the ballpark together to see the Major League debut of Mason Wynn in a Cardinal uniform.
I'm on board.
And see how that goes. Rammer,
we'll start making our comparisons. Is he Ernie Banks? Is he Derek Jeter? Is he Nomar Garcia-Parra? Is he Cal Ripken? Who is this guy? We'll do that after seeing him play once.
You didn't mention Ozzy in there? No.
Nobody can be Ozzy.
Rammer, hey, speaking of shortstops, Tim Anderson got knocked on his ass this weekend by Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Guardians. And I think, you know what? It's up there. I'm going to say top 5 baseball brawl of all time.
Because of the finish.
Yeah, because of the
right hook.
Yeah, and you know what? In another life, the umpire, the second base umpire that day, had to have been a hockey official. The way that he just got out.
Words? What are the 3 feared words? Let him go.
But yeah, I mean, when you think baseball, I mean, you put that one up there. I think you put Rougned Odor knocking out Jose Bautista, which Elvis Andrews had a front row seat for both of those two.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Nolan Ryan and Robin Ventura.
Yeah.
Pedro and Don Zimmer.
I'd have to remember the year. When you talk to Claves next, you doing lunch tomorrow?
No, we did it today earlier.
Oh, next time you talk to him, he'll remember the time. I think it was Cardinals Astros, and Roger Freed. The bench is empty. Roger Freed comes roaring off the bench and chased. I think it was Cesar Cedeno around the field to get a piece of him. And then, of course, the 2 different brawls with the Giants and the Cardinals in the 80s. Those were huge. Those were big time.
If you want to, folks that are watching, listening to this, if you go to YouTube and search Izzy Alcantara, Izzy Alcantara, Alcantara. It's another one. This is a minor league game where this fight happened, but he got hit by the pitch. He turned and kicked the catcher and then ran out and charged the mound.
Well, you didn't want the catcher coming up behind him.
Exactly. He was taken away. Yeah, he was making sure nobody was coming up from behind him.
That's right.
And he was going to be one-on-one with the pitcher. So yeah, he made sure to knock out whoever was going to come help and and do that. But that's another good one to watch. The suspensions were handed down today for that.
Yeah.
Tim Anderson got 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
Jose Ramirez got 3 games, and Emmanuel Clase he got 1 game for his role in.
I wonder what he did. I'd have to go back and Zapruder the film.
Yeah.
And see what I can come up with. Yeah, go. I'm sure they're on YouTube somewhere. The fights with the Giants. The one with Will Clark out at second base with Ozzie Smith and Jose Oquendo, and then the brawl that ended up behind home plate where Whitey and Roger Craig, the Giants manager, actually fought each other. You got to look those up, folks.
In Cardinal history, I remember Joe West telling the story. There was a big one, Cubs Cardinals. It was one of his first games.
Oh, that's in the 70s when Ted Simmons came out of his crouch and decked Bill Madlock. But the chaos before the fight was what made it. Because Hrabosky was on the mound, stepping off. They're stepping out. The umpires tell him to get in the box. Hungo throws a pitch with nobody in the box. They call it a strike. Madlock jumps in, pops off. Simmons jumps up and punches Madlock. It was the craziness made it so awesome.
The White Sox and the Guardians, as I look through their schedules, both of their schedules quickly here, they do not play each other again the rest of the year. One of the downsides to everybody playing everybody is not a whole lot of matchups. Those two teams have already played each other. So
and it's just as well because of the bad blood. But what if they were in the pennant race late? That's why even with this schedule, I think they've got to find a way early and late to play your division opponents. And if you don't see the Cubs or the Reds or the Brewers through much of the middle of the summer, okay. But September's got to be the divisions and trying to get to postseason. I think they've got to address that.
Rammer, we don't have a game until tomorrow night. 3 games against the Rays and then a 2-game weekend series against the Royals. No game on Sunday. This week. We'll talk about that later on this week here on Daily Cards Live. But we're brought to you each and every day by Munganess St. Louis Acura. We'll have those bootlegging lineups for you Tuesday through Friday this week. And Rammer, of course, we're also brought to you by Royal Banks.
Royal Banks, if you had a mortgage checkup lately, make sure you've got the best deal for you, your family, and your home. Royal Banks, 314-212-1500. It's Royal Banks, where better service means better banking.
He is Bob Ramsey. I'm Joe Roderick. Talk to you tomorrow right here on Daily Cards Live. It's ClaibsOnline.com.
Munganess St. Louis Acura has a great selection of new and certified pre-owned Acuras. Get 3.9% financing for up to 36 months on all new Acura models, or get $1,000 in loyalty incentives on the 2023 TLX and RDX, and $750 in loyalty incentives on the 2024 Integra. Get financing as low as 1.99% for up to 36 months on certified pre-owned TLX and MDX models. Munganess St. Louis Acura, better than ever for you.